Awesome. With the white microphone on as well, please. Let's get it up for Mike and Shill. Those are very visually appealing slides. I appreciate that. That's awesome. All right, our next speaker is actually, we've got a moderator, one of the co-founders of Allegory, Josh Lannon, and he will be speaking with Niall Casson. I got it. Irish, right? All right. We got an Irishman in the house. I love it. No connections, no shortcuts, no problem. Stacking credits to becoming a working writer. Let's give it up for these two.
We're good?
We're good.
We're just going to lounge a little bit for you guys now. So, Niall and I just recently met, but he's my new Irish brother. The more I think of him, the more I think of him. You know, so he's got an amazing story. I'll give you the short version, and I'm going to let him kind of tell you a little bit more about it. But he obviously came over from Ireland. He had no connections in the industry. Didn't know anybody, just had grit. He came over from finance. Is that what you were in?
Yeah, banking.
Working in banking, boring. And he came over here on a visa, burnt the boats. And you know, since then he's produced his film. He's had a billboard on Sunset. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Has a podcast on Sony. He's done a bunch of other things. So I thought he would be just a really inspiration to all of us, with somebody who kind of came over from Ireland, no connections. So I'm gonna hand it over to you, man, and then hopefully we'll be able to take a couple questions here at the end. But yeah, tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about your story, your journey, and I'm gonna shut up and listen.
All right, lovely. Long story short, I started working in banking, just like retail banking, and the mortgages and loans, and you know, it was always in my head to be a screenwriter. Like, I could see the movies in my head. But of course, I'm in Ireland, I'm in my 30s, and I have zero connections. I have no connections in the Irish film industry. And one day I just looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I had all this material possessions. I had like a nice car, a nice apartment, all these things. I had anything you could ever ask for. And I was really fucking sad. You know what I mean? I had all this stuff and I was like, oh my God, man, like this is it. Like I've maxed out, like, you know, this, it comes down to a new pair of trainers or a new TV. So I asked myself, I was like, what would make you happy? What would really make you happy? And I was like, I'd love to be a Hollywood screenwriter. And I was just like, fuck it, let's go. So literally I saved for a year. So I had a bit of cushion there. I quit my cushy job in the bank. You know, I had a pension, I had a mortgage, all those type of things. And I was like, I'm gonna buy a one-way ticket on an, so anyone that's not American, so an ESTA is like, it's like a tourist visa and it lasts you 90 days. So it's like, I'm gonna fly to America on an ESTA, the clock's ticking, like, you know? And I feel like you can only really, like you can, when you have that pressure, literally a ticking clock. So every day I was like, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna knock on doors. And I had a few things lined up, like I connected with people through like Twitter and like Facebook, and I did this kind of pitch fest thing, so I had all these like lined up. And I was like, oh, I'll try to get someone to sponsor me, I'll try to get a visa. Anyway, that wasn't easy at all. So like, I'm literally running out of time in America, and I was like, oh, well, where do I go now? I can go to London, I suppose, and work with film there. So I did a bit of research, and I was like, I can get a Canadian working visa. So I applied for a Canadian working visa. That was like $100, and like, I literally ticked a few boxes. Next of all, I'm in Vancouver. Applied on Craigslist to an office job. It was a Jerry Bruckheimer pilot called Home. With Brad Anderson directed it. I was in there. I was the first one in the morning, last one to leave, but I had no film experience. I literally had not set foot on a set. I'd written a really bad script, and I got fired after 2 weeks. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, I was telling everyone I was in the big leagues. But then the location manager, he was just like, I've seen your grid. Do you want to be a PA, locations? And I was like, I don't know what that is. So next of all, I started working in locations. And long story short, because I was a temporary Canadian resident, I couldn't be in the union. So all the PAs were all foreign nationals. So it was all like French, Italian, Spanish, British, Australian. But we came together and like we'd help each other out. And I ended up working on like 40 productions in Canada, like Planet of the Apes, Deadpool, Supernatural, like, you know, Riverdale, and like Tully, all these different movies. And like what we're taught in, like, you know, reading the script and then watching the movie. But when you're on set and you have a pair of sides in front of you, because I think the problem with writers is we all overwrite. We want the person to see exactly what's in our head, and that's never going to happen. But when you see like a line of action in a script, and then you watch it being filmed, you're just like, oh wait, I can cut out all this bullshit. Like this is, man gets into the car, I don't have to see the man slowly saunters over to the car and lounges in this. Do you know what I mean? So I was working as a PA in the winter months, and it was grueling. It was 15 hours a day, 5 days a week for 2 years. And I learned, one day I'd be like Gus Van Sant, the next be like Jason Reitman, and the next day I'd be on like, Deadpool, and then a week later I'd be on Planet of the Apes, and this goes on Power Rangers. And then I come down the summer to LA and just like hustle. So I broke through all my visas, had to go back to Ireland, but I had this like fucking fantastic CV that no one in Ireland could ever have. But I literally, a PA is just like you're picking up garbage. You're looking at the generators, you're not doing anything important. But people in Ireland wouldn't know that, It's like in Ireland. So I had that on my resume that I was a PA, and in Ireland they saw it as a personal assistant. So I applied for a job, and I ended up being the personal assistant to Scott Bernstein. So Scott Bernstein worked for Universal. He produced Straight Outta Compton. He produced Respect. He's done lots and lots of stuff. So I was his personal assistant. We did a movie with Finn Wolfhound from Stranger Things and Mackenzie Davis. Did that, and me and him are still friends. He's like a mentor. He's a tough guy. But so I'm going back to America. Everything's going well. I have like I got this fucking kick-ass spec. We got Bruce Willis before he was ill. He was going to be in it. It was all this kind of like, was going there. Next of all, some guy sneezes on a bus, and we can't hug our grandmothers anymore, So I had to go back to Ireland for COVID, So I mean, and again, like, I'm so close to my dream. And I think writing is all about mindset. Yeah, like you either win or learn. You never lose. Like you gotta love rejection. You love rejection. So I'm back in Ireland, and I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do now? So my buddy reached out to me, and she's like, what are you doing? And it's just like, well, I'm back in Ireland. She's like, do you wanna be a personal assistant again? And I'm like, I don't know. Like it depends. Like anyway, it was The Last Duel with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and Jodie Comer and Adam Driver. It was the Ridley Scott movie they filmed in Ireland, and like that was like the highlight. I was like, I would do it for free. So because it was COVID and Ridley's a bit old, he couldn't be in the room with everyone else. So when he came on set, it was literally the actors, the assistants, and Ridley Scott. And Ridley Scott's standing there, and your intrusive thoughts are just like, don't fucking touch him, don't say anything to him, just let him do his thing. And then at the end of COVID, I ended up getting my visa, and then when I got my visa, I ended up getting, I got a couple of movies made, and then I did a show for the History Channel in a billboard on Sunset, and then recently I just had a movie released with Billy Zane and Peter Franchicelli. It's on Tubi at the moment called Deadly Bells, and I produced and wrote my first movie during the summer. And I did that all by literally saying, people are going to tell you, you need to know someone, you need to fucking you need to get in there. I'm not the best writer. I'm not, man. I'm just the most determined. There's no one more determined than me. I always say this, like, success is in direct proportion to sacrifice. What are you willing to give up in order to be successful? Are you willing to give up like, oh, well, it's the lads are going out for drinks, no, I'm writing. Oh, well, the girlfriend wants to do this, no, I'm writing. Like, there's so many, like, get out of your, like, burn the boats. Literally go out there and say, you're not sleeping until you get where you want to go. And it's like, success isn't about these, like, massive leaps. It isn't about, like, oh, I'm gonna wake up one morning and it's gonna be an email from Steven Spielberg. It's those tiny little, hey, read your script, not from me, but send me your next thing. Those tiny little, like, when you keep these contacts, and you keep on building, we're not in the film industry, we're in the sales industry, we're in the people industry, It's all about connection rather than, like, say, producers, directors, they'll rather work with someone who can take notes and improve the next draft than some guy who thinks he's fucking Quentin Tarantino and he's referencing black and white movies from the 1930s that no one ever seen. No one wants to work with that guy. They want to work with the guy who they can have a beer with, that will listen to them. Because you have to remember, like, it's a collaborative medium. So when you write, you have to leave enough space for the producer to have his ideas, and the actor to have his ideas, and the director to have his ideas. You can't be, well, this is exactly how it's going to be done, and that's it. I don't want off there, but that's
No, you're good. It's amazing because it's what one person can do, another person can do, right? And this guy started on behind first base, and you guys are already on second base, just kind of being here. So I really think that Niall's story is a story of inspiration for all of us. Really quick, we have a few minutes left. I just want to see anybody have any questions for Niall about his journey, about how he got what he's got made, anything? Anyone? Oh, right over there.
So when you came to Vancouver, you got a PA job. And
Yes.
that was a great PA job.
Well, no, do you know, because the Vancouver was blowing up at that time, there's lots of productions, but it wasn't like people were asking me, what do I think of this scene? It was more like, I had to pick up garbage and trash and make sure homeless people didn't rob crafty, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, it was great for, there's still PAs I worked with 10 years ago who are still PAs at the moment, But for me, seeing, because I had no writing experience, to see the sides and to see something how it's actually filmed from words to physical, that's how it benefited me.
So how did you get that PA job?
So when I got fired from the Jerry Bruckheimer TV show, the location manager saw me come in first in the morning, because I was just I fucking won the lotto here. It's just it was Bruce Greenwood, it was Brad Anderson. He saw me come in at the start, and at the end, I'd be the last person there. And he said, oh, it's really shitty, because I told him I had no experience. And the location manager was like, oh, that's a really shitty thing to do. Well, I see you you're coming in and out, and he's like, do you want to be a PA? That's how it was, Because I was willing to be the first person there and the last person to leave, I would have slept in the office and he let me, you know what I mean? I went from I literally thought I made it. And then for all be snatched away. But I still got up the next morning, I still hustled, I still sent out resumes. I was waiting for that guy who offered me the PA job.
Yeah.
Alright, so you said that you would do anything, you weren't going to give up, the grit, all that kind of stuff. You want to make the dream happen. So first, would you say that it's happening? Do you feel like you're at the place you wanted to be way back when? Yeah, well, I think Niall 10 years ago would be very proud of where I am. But I think it's like any other. It's like there's no finish line. There's no peak to screenwriting. Honestly, it doesn't get easier. I'm not saying that I have 5 movies, but I still get people don't answer my emails. People don't return my calls. It doesn't get any easier. I'd love to say that oh, I can email someone and they'll go for coffee the next day. It doesn't. I think you always want to stay hungry. I think you never want to be in your comfort zone. I think I'm almost there. I'm almost at a point that I can be I can sit back and relax. But I'm always turned on. I'm always tuned in. I'm always waiting for the opportunity. I'm it never goes off. I don't have no problem someone emailed me now, can you get us a new drop by tomorrow morning? I'd be absolutely no problem. It'll be in your inbox when you wake up tomorrow morning. I'd like to be to the point that I don't have to do that. So the you from 10 years ago and then the you now, is there anything from the last 10 years that you didn't know 10 years ago would be such a perk or a highlight that you couldn't even imagine was such a good part of all of this?
So I grew up in Ireland, and I live in Santa Monica now, and I get to wake up every day, and I get the sun, the sun shining. It hasn't stopped raining in Ireland, my parents told me since the start of the year. I get to wake up now, and every day, it's still difficult, but every day I'm so grateful and so thankful. I'm so thankful to America that gave me the opportunity to literally pursue my dreams. For me as a child, film was always about escapism. I don't want to write movies about depressing social issues. I want to be Indiana Jones. I want to be James Bond. I want someone to take me somewhere I've never been before. And that was you get those movies made in America. You're not getting them made in Ireland. So I'm very grateful and very thankful that I get to live the life I live. And very few people get to chase their passion and get to be an astronaut. You know what I mean? And I feel I've kind of done that.
Awesome. One in the very back. No?
She's from Ireland.
How are you? Fellow Ireland. Anything else really quick? We have about 1 more minute. Yeah, please.
How did you make the switch from when you were saying you did the few PA jobs? Was that mainly through relationships that you then got out of the PA jobs, or how was the switch to making your own?
So from the different jobs, or from PA to writing?
Once you were doing PA jobs, how did you get out of that and into making your own stuff?
So like well, you know, PA jobs were just like a side hustle to me that I'd always be writing, and even on set again in Vancouver at the time, they'd be filming everywhere. So I'd be beside a generator, and I'd still be writing then, and then I'd go home and I'd cold email people, and I'd always be like PAing isn't a way, like I'm not saying it can't be done, but you don't PA to become a screenwriter. But for me, PAing was, oh, this is how the film industry works. Like it was like a crash course, because I never went to college for it. I never I never worked in the film industry in Ireland. So PA was just like, oh, this is what it's like.
All right, that went by too fast, but if you guys want to have any additional questions for Niall, I can be around for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be around at the back somewhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Let's give it up again for Niall and Josh. So Niall came through Canada. He squeaked through into Canada. I'm Canadian.